If you haven't watched the previous episode of Tayou's story, I recommend you watch it first. In the last episode, we were introduced to Tayou, an isolated young man who hates the differences between people, except for his childhood friend, Mitsumi. Mitsuomi's brother is always trying to protect her because of an incident that happened between them in the past. Because of that, now he tried to kill Tayou because he felt danger to his sister, and we also saw how Mitsumi's brothers saved Tayou. We also find out that Mitsumi and her family are spies, and that Tayou is forced to dress up as a secretary and marry Mitsumi to protect himself and Mitsumi from her troubled brother. What will happen to Tayou and Mitsuomi? This is what we will find out in today's episode. But before we start, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive all new updates. He grabs her hand and stabs himself, hugging her and saying, "Forget Tayou and live in peace with us." At that moment, Tayou comes out of the wardrobe and says to Kyoshiro, "Keep your hand off Mitsumi." Kyoshiro is like me. He also wants to protect those he loves, Tayou thinks to himself. He shouldn't interfere in family matters, Kyoshiro replies. Then Tayou extends his hand to Mitsuomi and says to her, Tayou then extends his hand to Mitsuomi, vowing to protect her as she promised him earlier. Overwhelmed with joy and shedding tears, she throws the ring to him. Before he can catch him, Kyoshiro surprises everyone and wraps iron threads around Tayou's hand and the ring. Tayou remembers how he thanked Tsumi for supporting and protecting him, so he grips the ring tightly, enduring the pain, and declares that from now on he will become her protector. After he gets the ring, they become husband and wife because of that ring. And the moment Mitsume hugs Tayou, Koichiro is unable to do anything, and everyone shows their joy. Futoba taunts and mocks Koichiro. Next, we see Tayou wake up to the sound of his alarm clock and doesn't remember anything. But he soon remembers the quarrel that happened yesterday, and finds Nano holding Kyoshiro's unconscious face. He wipes the floor with it, drags it left and right, and literally plays with it. Futoba shouts, "If you don't stop it, you'll regret it." After Kyoshiro wakes up, Mitsume asks him to drive Tayou home after she treats him for the injuries Kyoshiro caused with his iron threads. Mitsume thanks him for standing by her. Tayou sits on his bed and looks at the ring, contemplating the future that awaits him. Tayou says, "I feel like I'm in a dream." Suddenly, he finds Kyoshiro in front of him, attacking him with a knife strike. But Tayou dodges it while screaming, and Koichiro is impressed that he dodged the blow and says to him, "This is the Yakuza family's alarm. Since you have become one of our spies, you should sleep with your eyes open like a spy." Tayou's brain stops. He doesn't understand what brought Koichiro here again. But suddenly, he also finds Mitsume standing at the door, smiling at him and telling her brother that she has prepared lunch and her school bag. Kyoshiro says, "I don't have time. We have to run away now." Mitsume carries and wraps a passage with his own iron strings and jumps from the second floor. Tayou doesn't understand what's happening and who they're running from. At that moment, Tayou's house literally explodes. Kyoshiro tells Tayou that he will put his hatred away now because he has an important message he wants to tell him, which is the most important mission in his life: protecting Mitsume. They get into the car, and Shinzo sends a report telling them that the bomb was planted in the kitchen. "She was definitely targeting Mitsume," says Koichi. Tayou asks, "How could they have targeted Mitsume and planted a bomb in my house?" Koichi answers, "They planted it in your house because their knowledge of your relationship with Tsumi." Kyoshiro's phone has not stopped receiving messages since yesterday, congratulating him on his sister's marriage. But these are not ordinary congratulations, my friend. They are death threats. Tayou does not understand what is happening. He asks, "How do spies act like this? How do spies use social networking sites? Why do these people want to kill Mitsume specifically?" Kyoshiro answers, "The answer is very simple. Mitsuomi is the 10th head of the Yakuza." A strong shock strikes Tayou's mind, my mind, and yours as well. "Oh my God! Error 404, Tayou shouts. Kyoshiro begins by explaining, "The Yakuza family has its roots in clans of ninjas and assassins who have produced generations of people with superpowers. But in every generation, one natural person is born, and that person is the one who will become the president. He is the only one who can pass on the genetic abilities to the next generation, and thus, he is the only person who can continue the family. Kochi adds, "After all, it doesn't matter what her social family is. What matters is that we want to protect Mitsume at all costs." Mitsume interjects, saying, "I'm just like you. I will sacrifice for the family." Kyoshiro admires his sister's words very much and takes the opportunity to insult Tayou. "Look how a girl like her has a leadership spirit completely unlike you." Kyoshiro says to Tayou, "Now I know everything about my sister Mitsume. Eventually, she will take over the family and the underworld, so you must mix with the outside world and learn their culture. Because of that, we have enemies who hate Mitsume and want to get rid of her. You could be in danger at any moment, so we must be careful." Tayou trembles in fear, grabs the gun and refuses to do so. But Kochi tells him, "Don't be afraid. If you kill someone, we will cover for you. This is your first task. Go to the field. You must protect Mitsume from assassins today." Matsumi tries to prevent her brother from harassing Tayou and says, "Assassination is usually carried out by bombs or poison. A gun is of no use in assassination." "I wanted to go with you, but I have a mission in the morning. I have to rescue a group of hostages," Kochi says to Tayou. He then shows him a picture of the killer targeting Mitsume, whose name is the Bomber King. Tayou is surprised that all the criminals talk about bombs, murder, and weapons as if nothing had happened. Kochor continued his speech saying, "Tamiya Don loves making first-class bombs, and he used to work with him before and help him kill terrorists." Tayou was surprised. Tamiya was working with him? And now he wants to completely kill him? Kyoshiro replied, "People in this world change their loyalties depending on circumstances and money, my friend. We are in a capitalist world ruled by matter, and the poor have no value in it. The only person who can save you is yourself, and it is possible that you too are in danger." Tamiya's weakness. It is social media. He spends a lot of time on it and writes meaningless poems, but the important thing is that he posts his goals and progress as well. Before leaving, Kochura gave Tayou some advice about what Tamiya might do. "You should protect Mitsuomi until I come back from work, and try not to protect your life too, or else you will regret the day you were born." Tayou's first mission started. He and Mitsuomi went to school. He was observing it step by step. Everyone was surprised by Tayou's actions, but Tamiya's navigation skills made Tayou wary of anyone approaching Mitsumi. As Tayou watches Sumi, he notices that she doesn't accept anything from anyone, doesn't go anywhere alone, and takes precautions with everything. He realized that she had learned all this on her own, and that she was paying attention to him too. But at that time, he was only thinking of himself. Tayou felt extremely guilty, as if he had fallen short of her greatly. At that moment, someone approached him and gave him a piece of chocolate. Tayou took it and thanked the person, but suddenly realized that it was his colleagues who wanted to get to know him. He remembered that he took the chocolate from them without getting nervous or sweating, but as soon as he realized this, he felt faint, then regained consciousness. He said to himself, "I must be fully conscious to protect my wife." After that, Tayou was sitting in the vice principal's room, which of course was Kiyoshiro's room because he felt tired from dealing with people. Mitsuomi walked in and said to him, "It's good that you talked to everyone without losing consciousness." When he asked her if she remembered the moment when this happened because he was finally on the verge of losing consciousness, she replied, "Actually, you have been interacting with people since yesterday. At first, you were afraid to interact with people, but yesterday you were talking to my brothers in a way." Naturally, he told her that he would not have thought about that because of the conversations that took place between them, and that he was now the same as he was before. Mitsuomi tried to encourage him because he had endured all that, and she told him that it was a small step, but he was starting to improve. He then asked her whether or not she was satisfied with their marriage because even though he knew her, he didn't realize the burden she was carrying and he wasn't able to take care of himself. Their marriage also occurred because of his selfish desire to protect her without thinking about her feelings. Enough nonsense, Mitsuomi replied. You got it wrong. It wasn't you who chose me. It was me who chose you. And even though we got married in this chaos of spies and a bride who might die at any moment, you still think about my feelings. I always thought it would be nice if you and I got married. Then she thanked him for their marriage. Suddenly, a bomb exploded, causing the wall next to them to collapse. Tayou saved Mitsuomi and realized that Tamiya was the one who did it. But he wondered how he knew where they were, especially since they were in a room where it was difficult to expect them to be there. Then Tayou realizes that all the criminals know about his relationship with Mitsuomi. Because of his fear of dealing with people, it was very unexpected for him to come here. And he knew that. All of this haunted him since the first day, and he remembered Kyoshiro's words when he told him not to trust anyone but himself, because even himself might be in danger. He looked down and found a bomb planted in his clothes, and it would explode in 5 seconds. Tamiya was standing on the building on the other side, watching all of this without Tayou noticing. Tayou tried to get out, but the first explosion closed the door, and he jumped off the building so Mitsuomi wouldn't get hurt. Mitsuomi shouted as Tayou jumped up, happy that he was able to complete the task so quickly. Is this the end for Tayou, my friend? Of course not. Suddenly, Kyoshiro appears to save Tayou with his threads. He said, Tamiya bombs are powerful despite their small size, but they have 2 drawbacks. They take long hours to work because they use the target's body heat to charge themselves, and their design is so small that they can be stopped with a string. As a reward, Kyoshiro said, There is no one in this world who can save himself. The only thing that can save him is family. He added, It's true that I want to kill you, but I won't let you die even if it comes at the cost of my life. So you must do your best for Mitsuomi. After that, Kyoshiro pulled Tayou up. Mitsuomi asked him, What are you going to do with the bomb? I will return it to its owner, of course, Tayou replied. Then he drew it and threw it at Tamiya, and it exploded. But before that, Tamiya posted posts on his account and wrote, I will die soon. The addiction to fame is over, mate. If you want to know what will happen, please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive the video as soon as it is published, and I hope you like the video. Stay tuned for the next video and stay well.